Well, it's been a crazy past couple of weekends. We've missed this past weekend because we were in continuous coverage for 2 days, covering ice and a mixture of snow, some freezing rain at times. And this past weekend, the one we just are still getting through and about to be finished with, was equally eventful. We had 2 bullseyes here of snow. You can see the areas in blue on the map here indicating 12 plus inches of snow.
Oh my gosh.
And then all this area in white is 6 to 12 inches of snow, 2 to 6 inches in that area in light blue. So this is a pretty significant snow event across North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it was fueled by 2 systems. And I want to break this down in a little bit more detail because I think we had a lot of questions yesterday. And shoot, I still have some questions about how yesterday went down as well, because that dry air really parked itself over the central portion of North Carolina and just sat for a while.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating because, we were hoping for snow as early as very early Saturday, and it really didn't start to move in till closer to 6:30, 7 o'clock, I think, was never really started to settle into downtown Raleigh. And then it was filling in further south towards Fayetteville afterwards. So I want to show you this graphic. This was from Friday. This is a graphic that Kat Campbell, Mike Mays put together. And so again, this is an old graphic. That's why I have a disclaimer there in the top left. We figured by Friday, when we were looking at the latest forecast models and stuff, we figured that there would probably be 2 snowfall sweet spots, one closer to the coastline and one back to our west. Mm-hmm. And in the middle, there's a possibility of some dry air trying to work its way in. And with that, you can have the possibility for some lower snowfall totals. We talked about that in the Q&A session that we had on YouTube on Thursday, though, before the event. And then on Friday, we were like, we could have some areas that have lower rates because of this setup here,
right?
While other spots get a ton of snow. Because the upper level low, that's going to help to provide some lift and bring in some moisture for plenty of snow to develop. That's what the mountains, Charlotte, those areas saw much of snow.
Right.
Whereas the low, that created the majority of the snowfall for the coastline. So it was, frustrating.
Saying this.
It's frustrating. What did you think of it?
Well,
you were Clayton.
Oh yeah, they let me out into the world, right? It was so fun. I think this is important that you're bringing up this graphic. This is from Friday, so this shouldn't have come as a shock to anyone, really. I know. So I was out in Clayton. I was in Raleigh early in the morning, and of course didn't see anything early in the morning. But that's what you all projected. And then we moved to Clayton, and we were kind of on this outer band. Selma and Wilson, Smithfield, they were getting some snow. Right. Clayton, it was like you could barely see it. But we were like, let's hang out, and eventually between, I want to say, like 10 and 11, we ended up seeing some pretty significant snowfall. It was consistent, but it didn't stick by any means. It was getting blown away, so people were still out just enjoying themselves. Of course, the heavier stuff came later after I was free to go. But yeah, I know that a lot of the folks that we talked with were like, where's the snow? Where's the snow?
It's frustrating. It's understandable. And it is, and don't get me wrong, I don't think any forecaster in this entire area predicted the dry air to last that long.
Right.
We did project there's a possibility for dry air to lower totals. Some areas could see some higher amounts than others because they get more of that lift and moisture for snow to arrive earlier. But the length of how long that lasted, I mean, we were all in shock, just like, how in the world does this stay in place for such a long time?
Right.
But it held in place. But then eventually, once those systems can get closer to each other, the surface low and the upper level low, when those came together, that's never we started to see more widespread snow. And we got a decent amount.
We did.
2 to 3 inches in the triangle. And here's some other totals we saw across the area. Pretty significant totals in some spots. Tarboro, 10 inches. Crazy. Wilson at 8 inches. Smithfield and Oxford. You just talked about Smithfield. They got half a foot of snow.
Right.
Crazy. RDU, closer to 3 inches of snow. So
significant.
Yeah, it was a significant snowfall that, again, for the entire state. So hopefully you're able to enjoy it. We'll talk more about some hazards in a second that you have to, be reminded of as we head into tonight into Monday morning. But let's just take a moment and
appreciate
how beautiful the snow was this weekend. So we're going to start with this snowman. Man, what an awesome snow.
What a chunky snow.
It's a chunky snowman.
That's a good amount of snow right there.
You got some It's a good chunk there. Sheila Cameron sent this in from Black Creek. We love these. The snowland photos are great. I got another one right here by Josh Simpson sent this in. And the family there with the less chunky snowman.
I wonder what they're using for the eyes here. Kind of looks like a donut.
Yeah, maybe a donut. Maybe it's like some sort of cookie or something. That's pretty cool. The pups there, they're awesome also as well. So very cool to see. Fayetteville is where that was sent from. And then Clinton, this is from Jessica. We got the kids out there doing
acrobat. I know, doing some acrobats.
Very impressive too. To do that out in the snow and the hands being in the snow too. I hope Dad loves because it is cold. Okay, we got some pups too.
Of course.
Jennifer sent this in from Wilson. I cannot tell if the pup is excited about this.
Yeah.
The face is
some mixed reactions.
Yeah, it's like, I'd rather be inside in the warmth, but hey, experiencing the snow.
Yeah.
And Vicky Smith from Pink Hill sent this in, her 2 pups out in the snow. They seem to be very much so enjoying it.
Yeah.
And you can see, I guess there are some other tracks out there. A lot of folks, I'm sure, were out and about doing some sledding, doing some taking their pups out there. I know some pups have had their first snow.
Yeah.
So very cool to see that. There's another pup from Tukwe River.
What a great shot.
Some prints. This is an action shot here. Awesome to see that. And one more. This one is the cool landscape.
Yeah, I love that.
Classic truck from Autryville. Thomas Bullard sent this in. It was really awesome that we had, after the very cold morning and folks could start to get out, we had so much sunshine today. That way folks could just get out and enjoy it and experience just the wonderful landscape that we've had across the area. I know you have plenty of videos.
Yeah, oh my gosh, do we? We've got plenty. So this one is from Durham. We had reporters out this morning just across the triangle. This was in Durham, some folks sledding there, crews already out of plowing. So really thankful to see that. Of course, crews have to be careful in, downtown areas, but, brick, especially in Durham historic area.
I even noticed outside of our station last night when we were still on TV, the snow was still active. We had crews on campus already starting to plow. So I know it's all the work that everyone's doing, whether it be dock crews or any other crews that have been out in the cold, braving it to make sure our roads and sidewalks are cleared off. We appreciate it greatly.
Yeah. Do you want to? We can talk about what happened on the coast. We've got Wake County.
Yes. Get to the coast.
This is crazy video. So Donnie Buxton sent this to us. This was Cape Hatteras. That's the lighthouse there. It obviously is being worked on. And look at that water coming over the roadway there again on Hatteras Island. We had another home fall in Buxton. I don't know what count this is, but I think at last check,
it was 28.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was at least 20 potentially. So a lot of these homes, of course, no one's living in them, right? They're just kind of left out to the elements. But just what incredible video there at the beach. It's always weird to see snow on the beach.
There was a report of 15 inches in one spot.
Yeah,
just unbelievable amounts of snow. And that would be more snow than they've seen in Spokane, Washington, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
I mean, it's just a very specific event where you get enough moisture. It's a deep enough cold air mass.
Yeah.
You can get a ton of snow. What made it so interesting was that low was so close to the coastline that we were getting winds like a tropical system.
Yeah.
With those.
Looked like a hurricane.
Not just the bands of moisture. We got kind of looked like a hurricane on satellite imagery.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you just had these winds just whipping up the coast. I mean, 50, 60 plus mile per hour winds. It was unreal.
That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, roads this morning, treacherous. And I know, Elizabeth Gardner, Chris Michaels, throughout our morning show today, we're talking about how roads can continue to be dangerous. I know that I had a little slip today coming from downtown Raleigh. Thank goodness for my brakes. But this was from Wake County. These were the roads this morning. I mean, just completely covered in snow at this point. Now, obviously, crews have been working really hard to clear a lot of the major roadways, so that's some positive news. But of course, you see those kind of slick spots that almost look watery. They look like there's water on them. That's going to probably pose a hazard.
Right. And that's kind of the big focus for really the rest of tonight and through Monday is going to be the fact that people need to kind of stay off the roads as much as possible. There's starting to be slick spots. Our temperatures are going to be very, very cold. Our air temperatures will drop to the low teens, while wind chill values will be in the single digits. So not too far off from the very cold temperatures we had Sunday morning when we were recording this. And again, they're going to be slick and snow cover. We're going to have leftover moisture, leftover snow. And there was some melting, I'm sure, throughout the day today.
Yeah, with the sun.
Right. But I just don't think a ton of it was able to just disappear, and just immediately.
It's so cold.
Yeah, because highs today were only at around freezing. So just please use caution if you have to be out on the roads at any point through tonight and tomorrow morning, or late through the day tomorrow as crews work to clear things out. So we have two different alerts to talk about. One of them is a winter weather advisory. This covers the entire area, also back towards the Piedmont and the Triad region, and then to the south and east towards the coast. This is just in general to watch out for slick spots, because we're going to be very, very cold, dangerously cold in some spots towards the coast. And wind chill values could drop to around 0 degrees in some areas along the coastline. And then, any moisture, snow left over, we'll have to worry about those slick spots.
Yeah, I know it's tough. And especially, we have first responders that need to be out patrolling the roads. I know the message that we've gotten from state officials last weekend, this weekend as well, is that, if you're out on the roads and you don't need to be, if something happens to you, not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're also putting law enforcement, towing crews, DOT crews in danger. So that's to stay off the roads.
Yes.
You don't
You
have
have
to.
to.
Yeah.
I know we have first responders that are going to their work, and we also have any essential workers like nurses and things like that. They have to go into their job.
Right.
We understand that. Just please use extreme caution. Try to take those roads that are that have less maybe overpasses and bridges, and also
more well-traveled roads too.
Well-traveled roads as well. That's going to be key, especially those interstates that have been really cleared off. But even interstates, off-ramps sometimes can be a little dicey, so you just got to use caution and be very particular about how you plan your route. For the cold, we have a cold weather advisory, single-digit wind chills for this one. So it's not going to be the same cold that we saw this morning, but it's not really going to matter because it's not too far off. That lasts through 9 a.m. on Monday. So keep that in mind. Very, very cold still. Here's a wind chill forecast across the state. We're at around -7 in Boone, 14 in Raleigh, 16 in Wilmington. This is by 8 p.m. this evening. And it just gets worse from there. You get to around midnight tonight, and it's at -6 in Boone, 12 Raleigh, 11 Wilmington. And then we could see some wind chill values close to 0 along the coastline because we'll have a bit of a breeze there. And so extreme cold warnings are in place for some of those areas. And then we have the cold weather advisory here because we'll see temperatures drop to around the low teens, and then wind chills will be in the single digits. So still very, very cold with all that in mind. Limit time outside, keep the pets inside if at all possible. I actually have the 5 Ps to remind you of again. The pets are going to be very important to keep inside because they can't be outside very, very long, if at all. Make sure that your pipes are still very much so protected from this past night. But hey, just a quick reminder to do that. And then also practice fire safety. Continue to only use safe heating sources. The good news is we didn't have widespread power outages from this event.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking back to this past weekend. I'm sure at some point we can talk more about this. But this past weekend back in Nashville, Mississippi, Louisiana, we had they had more freezing rain. That's what we were concerned about possibly getting. There's a small difference in our temperatures here where we ended up lucking out and not getting as much freezing rain.
Wow.
But back to our west, Nashville's in really bad shape.
Yeah.
My mom, my family, I'm from the Middle Tennessee, and my mom still lives not far from Nashville, and she works in Nashville. So just driving around, she was telling me, I'm just nervous to drive anywhere on the area because when the ice accumulates, the branches easily break. And if you look at some of those popular roads that people travel to get into downtown, the trees are just completely bent over.
Yeah.
It looks wild.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did she lose power at all?
No,
is she okay?
Power. So she's
that's good.
east of Nashville, and so east of Davidson County, which Davidson County includes Nashville and those surrounding areas. And so she was very fortunately able to have power the entire event. But people that are in Davidson County, especially in some of those surrounding areas, that whole grade was just really hit hard.
Yeah. Very thankful that didn't happen to us.
I know. We got very, very lucky. We mainly had sleet and snow here. We had some sporadic outages like we had with the snowfall this weekend, but it just wasn't as widespread and significant, which was, we got lucked out big time.
Right. I remember, Duke Energy saying that they had prepared for the worst really last weekend with the ice. And I know that this time around the concern was wind.
Yes.
But they were telling us, in interviews that the powdery snow was going to be a blessing.
Yeah, so very much so a blessing. It was kind of wild to look outside last night. So I've stayed here. This is my second weekend staying here at the station.
At WRAL.
I know. And I look out the window and I can just see it wasn't snowing super hard at some points, but you just see the wind
just take it.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm used to seeing that dense, moist snow, and so seeing the dry snow just getting blown around everywhere. It was wild. It was very pretty to walk around the campus, last night and be like, wow, it's here. It took so long, but it's here.
Patience is a virtue.
I know.
Right?
Long term, we're looking at more cold. So you are a winter cold lover. Congrats. You have lucked out because our mornings will get a bit warmer by midweek, but there won't be that much of a change. It's still going to be quite cold all the way through the middle of this week and to the end of the week as well. Now, the good news is our highs actually warm to the mid-40s as we head to the middle portion of this week, and we'll have another day in the mid-40s later this week, but our morning lows are still going to sit in the 20s. So just make sure that you're always practicing cold weather safety, especially during the winter time. We're hoping this colder than average stretch will eventually wear itself out, but for now it's just been kind of brutal. It's been very, very cold.
It's been really
and then 2 weekends of winter weather. I was saying to someone, I really wish it was just could we just move this back at a different, why did it be 2 weekends?
Yeah. Can we get 1 weekend? Can we be in typical North Carolina fashion, get 1 weekend of ice, the next weekends it's at 50, 60, and then, just to have a break.
I'm going to keep right here.
Yeah.
Stick around.
Oh.
You have another video to show?
I do.
Awesome.
This is from Michael Joyner, one of our photojournalists.
We can wrap it up with this because...
Yeah, look at this. Lovely shot of Fayetteville. We worked together when we were in Clayton, and we were like, where's the snow?
I know.
Like everybody, right? And he, I think, was very thankful to see this in Fayetteville today. Great drone shot, folks out there, for sure. He's very lucky. He didn't have to work today. So, but he still sent in a video. So thank you to our photojournalist, Michael Joyner, for that. We really appreciate
Another
it.
big shout out for this past weekend and also this weekend as well. All the dock crews, all the essential workers that's been out and about, keeping our roads very safe and clear as possible. We understand that, this is widespread snow across North Carolina. So, it's going to take a while for all of it to get cleared out. But we appreciate the work you're doing, the overnights and all throughout the days of trying to keep our roads cleared off and safe for us because, wow, what an event. A ton of snow this weekend for pretty much the entire state. I know we didn't get as much as a lot of other places across the state, but we got some snow, about 2 to 3 inches here in the Triangle, and some crazy amounts towards the coastline and back to our west towards Charlotte. So yeah, it was fun. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I liked reading my book, watching it coming down. And it was fun to be outside too and kind of reporting on what we were seeing. I feel like snow days are like your fun days at work when you're out reporting. Even though it is really cold, you can kind of have fun and just kind of see what's going on.
Right.
But it was really fun. We really appreciate you all sending in your pictures and videos that are nice, right? Your kind messages. We really appreciate that. That goes a long way, especially for our crews here who are working overnight, trying to stay on top of all of this. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, keep sending those to WRAL.com/report it. And please stay safe throughout the next few days as it stays cold. We'll finally warm up by the middle of this week. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already to get more of these videos. We like to do these weekly updates as long as we're not in some crazy coverage.
Yes.
We lucked out. We're wrapped up right before we got to do this video. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.